Hi, Paul Howe, CSAT Way, trainers, autonomous or herd mentality, your choice. I'm going to do a reshoot on this. It's going to be a little long, but we need to talk about some things. So I don't want it to be negative. I'm trying to be professional. I thought about, putting a red dot on a water bottle, increase my lethality. We have a sense of humor here, and it's okay to have a sense of humor. It shoots a little left. I don't know if it's a mounting system. Mark says I'm over gripping. Also thought about wearing a beard out here, so I kind of fit in some of the generations. I have some sleeve tattoos, but I didn't want to, turn people off. Try to educate. That's important. Now, are you autonomous or herd? And we need both, but you've got to understand both. So autonomous, self-governing, sovereign, be able to walk alone, think on your own. And then a herd, sometimes you can use a herd, and the herd's good. A lot of folks are in the herd. We need the herd. So social-oriented, persuaded or pressured by the group. So industry favors the herd. Okay, so sometimes trainers favor the herd. But sometimes the herd goes for gadgets over training. Now, they buy gadgets for confidence, but when it comes time to game day, they might have issues. Industry loves herd thinkers. So industry, I can talk about all the different generations of guns. I know Glock Gen 6 is coming out. They probably have a Gen 7, Gen 8, Gen 9 on the drawing boards already. It's a business, and it's a business model. Smith and Wesson did it in the day with their semi-automatic pistol, Gen 1, 2, 3. You don't think they could have fixed it all right off the bat? Yes, they could have, but they want to sell more product. Now, I use a herd for burning down guns. Durability. I'll let the herd go ahead and shoot them. I like those videos. What wear and tear, what's going to last, what's not. So vehicles choices. I go to a sub herd. I go to the oil field guys. I go, hey, what trucks, heavy duty trucks are you guys driving that engines are holding up, transmissions are holding up, frames are holding up? And they tell me, and I go, okay. And that way I can make my choice on buying another vehicle that I need. So when you watch gun reviews, everybody's selling a product. They're sponsored by products. I don't go to the herd a lot of times for tactical equipment choices. Sometimes weak trainers submit to the herd views, whatever pays their bills. And I'm fine with that. I understand it. Now, we can find herd thinkers everywhere, and it's okay. Certain mill units, many LE, most church security, some competitive shooters, not all. And so, but it gets sniped a little bit, so I've got to this is my way of educating. I believe in being lethal before social, thoughtful before entertainment. That means understanding why you're training. Now, herd thinkers, they can become a mob. Oh yes, internet now has shown that. Red dot sights versus iron sights is a couple camps or herds. Target focus versus front sight or dot focus is a herd. Now, it become a mob. Now, trainers and stats. I watch trainers and evaluate. Watch Dave Spalding. I like him. I take his some of his drills and index card. It's huge. I didn't know he was a target focus shooter, so I saw it. It's good. Okay, it works for him. But I have other folks. I had one trainer, and he put it out to his, I think, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, inner circle. And so, but somebody emailed me the points, and he said, I'm taking students down the wrong course. So I do like a man should do. I call him up and I say, hey, what's the deal? And so he's giving me all this scientific psychobabble. And I go, okay. I said, you ever been through a selection process? No. You ever shot anybody? No. I went down a whole bunch of lists of questions. He's a good guy, and he's trying to, use his niche as a springboard for training. Man, I'm all about that. So I look at his website, I look at all the stuff, and I go, here's some things you need to think about. His background, reserve police officer, little National Guard rifle team. I'm fine with that. Problem is, did he commit his life to it? No, he's wanting to train, and it's okay. And some of them get sucked into the, I want to be an instructor at all costs. Well, that establishes your personal credibility. It doesn't. So your students and repeat customers establish your credibility. Now, forum stats, I like reading that stuff too. There are whole little camps on red dots. And so I'll use that as an example. So I don't pull up case histories a lot, but this is one of them. I trained a certain agency for about 10, 12 years in a row. And I did it iron sight, front sight, focus, dot focus on a rifle. And prior to me getting there, they had 5 incidents, shootings, 42 rounds fired, 7 hits. 2 of the 5 individuals survived, 16% hit ratio. After we got everybody trained up, and I'll go through how we trained them, 9 incidents, 37 rounds fired, 28 hits. Nobody survived. I think it was about a 75% hit ratio. Again, iron sights, and it was training. So how do we do this? We train SWAT train patrol. The command put an emphasis on training and firearms. That's what it's all about. Now with red dots, you're really going to have to do it, because the problem I'm seeing on the flat range and not in academia is people are coming in and they're still at a 1-3, 1-4 on their first shot. They're still trying to find that dot. So we've actually made them a little less lethal. They have to train more rounds, more repetition, and this may get them over the hump to do that. It may develop a life and work ethic in them, and I'm all good with that. With this system, which has been employed out there, it worked. Now, do we have mill units, herd mentality? Yes. After Somalia, we had a little, one equipment debrief, I remember. And we said, hey, we need to replace 1911s. We just enclosed firing pin system. All the other groups said, hey, we want flat triggers on our 45s, because they were competition shooters. And we go, we don't even want a 45. And so that happened a long time ago. And now, I think they've changed. So it can have a positive effect, and sometimes it can have a negative effect. For a lot of years, they stuck with those guns, and it's okay. But if they're not going to work under rough conditions, that's a problem. I hear arguments on the forums. Oh, God, I shake my head. So got people talking about submarines and different classes of submarines. I go, that's fine. I don't care about the engineers. What I care about is the guy on the ground, the tactical situation he's in, what he needs to enhance his lethality. I want to know about the sub-drivers and all the different people driving that make it a combined arms team. That's really what I want to know about. Somebody brought up backup cameras on vehicles. Yes, I use them occasionally. You know what I use it for? To see if I leave my tailgate down by accident. So that's where I use it most of the time. I still use rear view mirrors. I'll use that in conjunction, but I don't rely on it. I can defeat your backup camera with a piece of tape. I can put it over there. You'll figure out. You'll spend about a week trying to figure out why it's not working. Take it to the dealership and there's a piece of tape. So little stuff. All right, M14 to M16. We went through this drama, and it's kind of like the same history pattern. I knew Vietnam guys that carried a whole spare bolt carrier and bolt in their ruck and an oily sock because the M16s were not reliable. That's interesting. Now, I evaluate all areas of training. And so I look at special ops. I was in there, so I know how they think. Equipment folks, they get equipment thrown at them. People will say, well, that's what they use. Okay, that's fine. Until I see it, I don't trust it. And I need to see how they shoot, their training methodology. It may have changed. It may have evolved. It may have, gone backwards and backslid. So I got a point to say he has not changed in a long time. Yeah, you're right. When I can get a 75% hit ratio out there with irons, yeah, why should I change? If it stops working what I do, I will change in a heartbeat. But it hasn't stopped working. Now, I can use anything from a 22 mag to a 45-70, big optics. I've used about everything out there. They all have a place in life. You just have to figure out, yourself, your condition, and make it work. I like to be an individual thinker. It applies to leadership. Groups that I've seen that were exceptional, they took what they had and made it work. And that's simple as it is. They didn't bitch. They didn't have the latest and greatest. Can you be autonomous and part of a group? Yes. They can also work alone, autonomous people. We need to select lethal mindsets before, social. So protect yourself and your loved ones. I went through an individual selection. If I had a group mentality, I would not have made it. So you need to think about that in those terms. And before you punch stuff in on a keyboard. Questions. I ask questions my whole career to people. Had a World War II guy I used to shoot with revolver. He was on Iwo Jima. Said he was a Marine. Said he killed his first Japanese soldier. He threw up. And then from there, he tried to kill as many as he could. So Korea had a lieutenant colonel I knew, and when he was over there as a young officer, shot a enemy soldier, 45. He said there was white stuff coming out of the soldier's back. It was his spine. So okay, mentally note that. Vietnam, I have guys, a SEAL back then, the original SEALs. Took me under his wing. He was a LEO. Taught me some things. I had my first platoon sergeant, did 3 tours Vietnam as a Marine. Learned a lot about combat from him. We had guys in the unit, that Rangers Vietnam, learned from them. I picked their brains. I watched Little Bird, gun drivers, the shooters. Some of them had 2,000 combat hours in Vietnam. Guess what? One of them would take a grease pencil for daytime ops, put a crosshair on the inside of his bubble, and that was his sighting apparatus. Yes, not fancy, but he put rockets in guys' chests. So that's huge. Now, I like LEO trainers mostly over the mill guys to a certain extent. It's apples and oranges. The mill guys, they come out a lot of times, and it's hard for them to adjust to the reality of the herd. That means brand new shooters, intermediate, top-end shooters. LEO guys have seen folks coming in off the street, brand new vanilla shooters, train them up point A to point B. They understand use of force, laws. So I kind of lean towards LEO trainers as long as they can shoot and they can deliver articulate information. You got to train the herd, but you got to train the individual. You got to get non-emotional about it. So it's frustrating out there. And we see the same repetitive behavior all the time as trainers. Now, pure competition with no tactical background except YouTube, that's very obvious. I can watch a clip on weapon handling. Some folks have watched it. They punch tickets to resume builders. You got to watch that. Now, when I see instructors start talking cognitive and all these big words that I got a master's degree and I don't understand half of them. And I go, okay, so people think because they communicate with big words that it's effective. It's not. It tells me you're hiding something. You cannot speak to the average human being and relate facts, figures, and data. So people think because I don't shoot a red dot or choose to on a pistol, I shoot them on rifles all day long. I just don't like it on a pistol. And it's okay. Academic with no field experience, that's what college is. What I wrote here is academia is a business. And once you figure that out, I had one professor out of probably 12 that actually had done the job that he's teaching in college. Now, high round counts, you can do it. Are you applying mental or imprinting mental, or are you imprinting physical? So some people just turn it off and they just pound rounds. It's okay. Which imprints better, the physical or the thought process of every round or a shooting plan? Ability to mentally apply yourself to every shot. When you stop thinking, do you lose safety? You bet. Seen that happen. Marathon. If an instructor was going to teach a runner how to run a marathon, he'd have to cover so many basics and break it down from nutrition, train up, the first part of the marathon, the middle part of the marathon, the end, the post-marathon, how to get back in the game. If he were to just take them out and burn them at 26 miles, you'd lose most of your class. People want to learn and build up and stair step. Something to think about. Now, red flags for instructors. I see all this stuff out there, and I didn't want to snipe anybody. When I see a big gun like this in a tactical class, it's cool. I got it out of the shop, one of Mark's guns. It's for sale too. So it feels good, good grip. It points well for me. Would I have any credibility if I use this? No, and did my drills? No. Now, if I'm competition, you bet, man, use that big old platform. You've got to go polymer versus steel, the weight, recoil, all that stuff, triggers. I look at everything. This is my beater training gun. I'll get more credibility out of using this with a class, especially a new class. 1 to 15 span of control. When I take a class and I have 15 students, I'm going to have usually 3 instructors. If you bring in all these people, you don't know their skill sets, and you have a 1 to 15 ratio, that's a recipe for an accident. Something to think about. Competition versus, not versus. Competition, programming, pre-programming. You can't do that in tactical. You have to take each situation, and it requires thought, each shot, decision-making. That's really what it is, discrimination. When I get instructors, and I go, hey, we don't teach discrimination. Well, you might want to do that. So if it's pure competition driven, man, go for it. And that's what you're all about, go for it. But I'm on a tactical side. Now, safety. If I see as an instructor, an individual have 3 brain farts, we have them take a break. They can still dry fire, they can sit down, they can take a break, drink water. If I see a group, if I see 3 safety issues, I have to back off because we're going to have a training accident. So we can divert, we can go to the classroom, we can do a bunch of different things. An instructor needs to know that because you can push a student to failure, and in the firearms world, that's a bad thing. All right, seek trainers who have invested their lives in their profession, students, and their continuing education. Yes, just because I don't go to classes, I want to sponsor more classes, bring instructors here. I've seen enough hotel rooms in my life, but I watch everything out there. Yep, iron sights work, and target focus works. Front sight focus works. I have the case histories, and I can tell you about those. So you can pick whatever program. Don't snipe too hard the others because people have experience out there. I go for experience over academia. That's me. There's going to be some, I think, a big wave and a big change in the future. We've got Force Science out there actually doing in-depth studies, and it's going to be pretty cool to talk about vision and this and that. So I'm looking forward to the future. So that's what we're really all about. You make decisions at the individual level and then at the trainer level. So I hope this video helps you. I didn't want to make it too long, but I wanted to kind of pass some thoughts out to you. So you take care, be safe. Hope to see you on the range. All right, Paul Howe, CSAT Way. If you like our videos, we have a Mighty Network webpage and over 400 and probably 60 to 70 videos on it right now. Everything from operator level to instructor level. So if you want to continue your training and you can't make it to the range, this site is available. Hope you like it. Give us feedback because we're always trying to make it a little better. It's organized, structured, just like we'd run a shooting course. So appreciate you guys watching. You take care, be safe. Hope to catch you on the range or in a class.